Welcome back to my animal education series. Today I'm here with Dale at Zoo America at Hershey Park. Hello.
Michael, nice to see you.
I see that we have an elk behind us.
So we have Nubby. Nubby is an adult male elk. He's 16 years old. Elk occasionally live into their 20s, so he's getting up there in age. As you can see, he's coming over to check us out. This is a time he doesn't like anybody else around him. This is the rut season, and that's the breeding season for elk. Hopefully while he's here, you might hear him making some loud noises. They bugle during this time of the year, and it's sort of like a wheezing sort of call. So hopefully during this time, he'll do that for us, and you get to hear what I'm talking about.
What does their natural diet usually consist of?
They're plant eaters. They're totally herbivores, and they eat a lot of leaves, a lot of grasses, any kind of plants that they come across. Here at the zoo, they eat a lot of hay, and we also have an artificial diet that's alfalfa-based. That's the basis of their diet.
I just heard a little bugle just now.
My little call. That might have actually been from the mountain lions over there. It sounded more like the mountain lions in the background.
So we got two species in this one.
Two species we might be able to hear in this one. Doubt if we'll be able to see the mountain lions, but they are the next exhibit.
What is their natural environment usually like?
They're an animal that likes grasslands, certainly. But they were once native here in Pennsylvania, so they can live in forested areas. Here in Pennsylvania, the elk were all exterminated by some of the early settlers, and they've been reintroduced, and so now we have a pretty stable herd in the mid part of the state, around the town of Benezet. It's a good place to go visit if you want to see elk out in the wild. You don't have to go all the way to Yellowstone and some of the other places. You can take a tour through Benezet, Pennsylvania, and check out the elk.
With these massive creatures, what are these huge antlers used for?
The antlers are certainly something that the males have. Only the males have them in the elk species. And it's sort of like a showpiece. If you're a male elk, you want to have the biggest set of antlers because that indicates you're the healthiest and the strongest. And they will try to gather a harem or as many females as they can and try to breed with them. So the bigger, stronger males are the ones that are reproducing. And those antlers, they will fight with them. You can see sometimes he's pushing to try to get things out of his way with them. But mostly, a lot of times, they'll just see another elk's antlers, see if it's bigger or smaller. If it's much smaller, if theirs is much smaller, they're not going to go up against them. They know it's a stronger animal.
I see that this guy is really trying to get in.
This time of the year, it is their breeding season, and he is trying to get back in with the females. We do have our male fixed. He's vasectomized, so he cannot have young. And so our females continue to cycle a lot longer than many of the others. And so they haven't been bred. And this is the time of year that's about all the male elk and white-tailed deer have on their mind, trying to breed and mate with the other females that are around.
A little bit before he came back in, he was just attacking the door, and I was worried about him getting stuck in there.
He has never gotten stuck. There have been instances where some of the elk who got in battles did get their antlers entangled in each other, which has unfortunately resulted in death out in the wild. You see that happen occasionally. Usually, it's enough of a show of force to see if you've got a bigger set of antlers. The other ones stay away from the bigger males. Big male like this could weigh 800 pounds. Females weigh just slightly less, so it's a pretty large animal.
That is a force to be reckoned with.
We're not going to be going in there.
So what is that coat of fur used for?
Fur is very thick. The Indians that lived in North America often used elk hide to make teepees. So that was one of the important uses that they had. So it's got thick fur. Just like deer, their fur changes with the seasons. They'll get the thicker fur to keep them warm in the winter months, and then they get a lighter fur during the summer months so they don't stay quite as warm. The Indian name for an elk was wapiti, and in their language it meant white rump. And if you see an elk coming at you from the back end, you can see how the Indians named this guy.
Once he turns around and starts looking at that female again, you'll probably see it.
So I get a good shot of that. And this is Nubby, who was born here in 1999.
So he's kind of old.
He's getting up there in age. So they live sometimes to their mid-20s. Some of the older elk that live out there.
Like some hoof species, do these elk migrate, or do they stay in one location?
In the west, they're known to migrate from the higher mountain regions, and in the winter they come down lower off the mountains to get food because the higher mountain parts are snow covered. So they tend to migrate up and down mountains in the west. They don't travel as much here in the east. There's another part of the breeding thing. That's called a flamen that he will do. Also, he'll try to get himself all excited to go through that whole process.
Do these elk travel in herds?
They are herd animals, so this time the herds will be a little bit different. The males will try to get a herd of females, but normally in the rest of the season you'll have a lot of the females and the babies for the year all traveling in big groups.
How many young do these elk usually produce?
Usually they have twins. They can have a few more, but twins is the norm for them.
She doesn't seem to care at all when he's trying to get to her.
They know. They've been here. They've been together over 6 years, so she knows where the male can go, and she knows that she doesn't have to deal with it when the fence is there.
Well, thank you, Dale, for telling us all about these elk and this crazy guy desperately trying to get to the females. And if you guys enjoyed this week's episode, don't forget to leave a big thumbs up down below and subscribe to my channel.